This ground bears the weight of Sri Lanka's civil war. 15 years on, Tamil survivors still carry its scars.
Many of us have lost our husbands and children.
He was the boy that I gave birth to and raised.
For some, the journey has been about starting over.
People say, "Aren't you scared? Don't the landmines explode?"
Rebuilding from ruin, the country's north remains haunted by war. Reconciliation feels a long way off. Every day at dawn, 48-year-old Sivakumar Chandradevi sets out on a crucial mission. She oversees the loading of equipment and supplies onto the boat. Then she and her team set off. Their destination, Mantivu, a deserted island off Sri Lanka's Jaffna Peninsula. It is still riddled with deadly landmines from the country's brutal civil war. Chandradevi leads the demining team.
We can only reach the field by boat. Only 5 members can travel at a time. To get there, we will have to split our team into 2.
Upon arrival, they begin the day's work. Her team is made up of all women mine cleaners who work under strict safety protocols.
The husbands of the women working here have either died or abandoned them or lost limbs to the war. The work allows the women to support their families.
Chandradevi, herself a war widow, is the backbone of her family, one of many on her team carrying the same weight.
We work continuously for 40 minutes and then have a 10-minute break. Working here is really tough, so taking care of a team in the midst of all these things is quite challenging. We work in the hot sun, and getting water is hard. So working here as a woman is difficult.
They are clearing both factory-made and improvised anti-personnel landmines, deadly remnants of the war between the LTTE or Tamil Tigers and the Sri Lankan army. Manual demining uses devices to detect underground mines. When a hard object is found, the deminer marks and cautiously excavates the area. It's a high-risk job which demands patience and precision. Your husband died, your son disappeared, and yet you're working to demine this minefield on this island. It must be a reminder of the war every day. It must be really tough.
If we didn't clear the mines, some people would lose arms or legs because of them. Sometimes fishermen come along with their children, taking them fishing. So the clearance of the mines makes them feel safe and protected. I hope nobody gets affected by the landmines the way we once were.
As her shift ends, another one is about to begin in another minefield. 47-year-old Chandradevi Sasireka goes about her morning chores. Her life has been shaped by years of conflict. She, her son and her mother are the only survivors of the war from her family. She's a single mother and the sole breadwinner. Her son studies at a university. Despite all odds, Sasireka wants to serve her community.
If we do our work in the right way, we've got a chance to get everything back for our people, the people of this land, Muhammalai.
For 15 years, she has prepared daily to work in Muhammalai. It was a front line that separated the two warring sides and saw several fierce battles during the war.
Muhammalai is a cursed land in Sri Lanka or even in the entire world. So if we manage to clear all these mines away, there's a good chance that thousands of people will get their livelihoods back.
When the war ended in 2009, an estimated 1.6 million landmines remained, unmarked and largely undocumented. Today, nearly 24 square kilometers of land remain contaminated in the northern, eastern and north-central provinces. Sasireka's rare role as a field supervisor in such demanding work prompted me to ask how she feels about breaking norms.
Women can stand on their own with a little courage. Being in this job has made us bold. People often ask me, aren't you scared to work in such a dangerous place? Don't the landmines explode? And I tell them, no, I'm not scared. Yes, they can explode and I might get injured. There's even a risk to my life. But if I let fear stop me, I won't earn enough to support my family. Who else can I rely on for financial help? Who'll take care of me and my loved ones? I believe in God, and I trust that God will be with us. I'm doing this job because I love it.
Behind her smile lies the pain of war. Sri Lanka's civil war claimed at least 100,000 lives, among them Sasireka's brother, an LTTE fighter.
I lost my brother. At first, I wasn't fully aware of his absence, but as time passed, his loss began to haunt me. Even now, it affects me deeply. If he were alive, I wouldn't be in this state. My life would have been so much more beautiful. I wouldn't have suffered this much. Sometimes I catch myself wondering if he's still alive. I know it's an unreasonable and meaningless expectation. But still, I long to see my brother again.
Sri Lanka Civil War, sparked in 1983 by deep ethnic and religious divisions, lasted 26 years. The Sinhalese-led government fought the LTTE, a Tamil rebel group seeking independence. The war ended in May 2009 with the Tamil Tigers' defeat. Both sides had committed war crimes, with the UN documenting abuses by government forces, including unlawful killings, disappearances and gender-based violence against Tamils. Chilling evidence like footage of troops executing bound civilians and the discovery of mass graves highlights the war's grim final year. 15 years later, relatives of the victims still hold protests. Approximately 20,000 people, mostly Tamils, went missing during the conflict. In 2020, the government officially declared all missing persons as deceased, something that relatives have not accepted. Among them is 74-year-old Nadaraja Sivaranjani. Her son vanished in 2009. She clings to a photo of him. Her granddaughter would have been 34 but vanished after being last seen at a hospital. Sivaranjani believes she was taken by Sinhalese soldiers. I ask what she thinks of the government's offer of meager compensation without accountability.
Let's say I kill a man and offer his mother 200,000 rupees, or maybe even double that. Would that be enough? Would that be enough for you? He was the boy that I gave birth to and raised.
After a long day at the minefield, Chandradevi relaxes over a cup of tea with her grown-up sons. On the surface, she appears to have moved on from the war's shadows. But as we talk, it's clear her wounds are still raw.
There are so many like me who lost husbands and children to the war. It's a loss you can't easily get over. We faced a deadly war and we lost everything. Today, most families are down to just 2 or 3 members, including mine.
Her eldest son became lost during the shelling as the family fled. Her husband was taken by the Sri Lankan army while trying to reach safety. She also lost her father and other relatives.
My husband and son went missing, and we're still searching for them. There are lots of people like us. We're trying to hold on to some hope. All we're left with is our tears.
Her mental health has suffered, but work has helped her cope.
I've never lived a happy life. I don't know what to say. I'm only happy when I'm working. That's my only peace. Otherwise, I would have lost my mind.
In Colombo, Sri Lanka's capital, successive governments have consistently rejected calls for international war crimes tribunals to investigate human rights abuses, claiming such issues are domestic. Whether newly elected President Anurakumara Dissanayake can bridge Sri Lanka's deep divisions remains uncertain. Amita Aruduprakasam, who once worked for a government reconciliation body, now feels disillusioned.
I think what the victim communities are asking for is accountability, sentencing, and there's a whole variety of types of accountability. It doesn't have to just be a jail sentence. It can also be a public apology. It can be other forms of holding oneself accountable and acknowledging what has happened.
She teaches Tamil to help strengthen the language's roots in the country.
We have a huge shortage of translators, interpreters, bilingual officials in police stations, in hospitals, in courtrooms. Often Tamil-speaking people just don't have the same level of access that Sinhala-speaking people do. Without state involvement, my fear is that communities will be moving away from each other and becoming further alienated as opposed to further reconciled.
A procession honoring Tamil god Murugan in the north masks a stark social divide. In Tamil majority areas, the gap is clear, with development and resources favoring the Sinhalese majority south. Still, people hold out hope for truth, accountability, and justice for future generations. At the demining site, Sasireka points to the recovered landmines, walking me through the final steps of the day. She hopes that one day families displaced by the conflict will return to rebuild and that the wounds of war will heal.